Hi everyone, this is me and Mehdi again. We're back into the game of building an open source, decentralized social media platform aiming to deproductize humanity. And last time we wrapped up on the post ad post functionality. I'm gonna go up in here and basically go and pull the PR, the pull request that Mehdi opened yesterday to basically just show everybody what we've submitted. And then we asked, a good colleague of ours, Shri, to basically take a look at it, and she left quite a few comments. Let's go up in here. Let's go to O triple not O triple S. This is Tarafu. So let's go here. Tarafu core. And then here's a pull request. And then Shri here left only about 20 comments. That's all. Just 20 comments. Nothing big. Okay, and it looks like you've already addressed. So this is need to verify the core broker call. This is the only one that's hanging. Okay, so you addressed Everett. I'm confused about it. Need another test for date not recent. So we're gonna work on that today, you and I. And now you already have conflicts. So let me just explain to you what Shri is saying here. Usually when we do validations, we need to verify that the created date and updated date are the same and that the created date is not recent. I've never told you about that before. I never talked to you about this
Yes.
piece before. So obviously you wouldn't know, right? So let me pull out the Tarafu core in here, and I'm going to share my screen with you in a second, and then we will be able to kind of address the comments that Shri had for us so we can, get our PR merged. Just remember, even if you're pairing, it's always nice to have a third opinion, someone to take a look at the PRs and say, yeah, this is, this is probably better to do it this way and all that. Okay, so I'm gonna pull in these latest changes and then I'm gonna explain to you. We're gonna write a couple more tests because we forgot a couple of things. We need to verify the dates are recent. So whoever is posting a post, they can't play with time. They can't go and say, "Oh, let me just post this post as if it was posted in 1998." Right? We
Uh-huh.
shouldn't we shouldn't allow people to do that, right? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go up in here and say, and then I'm going to explain to you a very interesting philosophy because a lot of people say, oh, these are audit fields. Let these audit fields be, persisted and created by the service itself. That's actually a very bad strategy, and I'll explain to you why in a second. Okay. Anyway, so Shri is saying, we need a failing test on the validation level, and this failing test will tell us whether the date is invalid or not. If the date is invalid or not. So in here you have if created date and updated date is not the same. So this one is done. This one is good, right?
Yes.
If these dates are not the same. Now there's another one that we need to have here. I'm gonna type a theory in here, right? And this theory, meaning that I want to run I want to run the same test twice, but with different inputs. So the
Uh-huh.
exact same code, and it should produce the exact same result. Some people hack it up. They go and say, okay, let me produce in the inputs and the outputs. Not a big fan of that. Anyway, so I'm gonna go up in here and say member data, and then I'm gonna go here minutes before or after. Right? What is this minutes before or after? I'm gonna go up in here and create a little function. So private static, right? Theory data. This guy is gonna give me back something called minutes before and after. I'll explain to you in a second what that is. Let's see here. Yeah, great. Visual Studio is being fun today, so I'm gonna have to kind of. Here you go. So what is this minutes before or after? It's gonna go up in here and say, well, minutes before or after. We want to make sure that the code that we're writing, I'm gonna go here and generate random number, right? And this random number needs to be more than one, and which is what we have here, right?
Yeah.
This get random number generates from 2 and above. And then I'm gonna go here and return new theory data of integers like this. And I'm gonna go here and return that random number like this, right? And maybe I need a negative random number so so it's readable. Even though I could just put a minus in here, I'm gonna say negative random number so people know we mean business, right? So this is -1 multiplied by new int range, right? Min to max 10. You're gonna write a little bit more code, but the people that are reading the code are gonna be the ones having more of the fun. Because once you write the code, it's over. The code will be read more than it will be written. So it's really important that we invest in the readability of the code, right? So in here, I'm gonna also here say random negative number, right? So this is get random negative number, right? Just like this, negative, oh, get random negative number. Here you go, get random negative number. So this is us verifying that if the created date or updated date were a minute before or after now, you throw a validation exception that says, oh, sorry, this is wrong. Okay, so I'm going to go up in here and say this is random number and this is random negative number. Okay, so I created a little function in here that returns theory data, and that theory data basically tells me, here is a bunch of data that you can use in your test. So now I can go and say minutes before and after. Now check this out. Public async task should throw validation exception on add if created date is not recent, and then log it async. Now this guy takes in an input parameter. See, most of unit tests don't. If your unit test is a fact like this, it doesn't take an input parameter. So what do you
Uh-huh.
think is the input parameter that this guy would take? It will take minutes before or after, right?
Yes.
So this guy here goes and says, whatever that method is generating for me, I'm gonna need to take a minute before and after. And the API of the XUnit is weird, weird, weird. It goes and says, give me the name of the method that you have, and I'm gonna figure it out on my own. It's weird. Anyway, so I have this guy. This is done. What am I missing? Member data. What's it say? Member data must reference. Oh, it needs to be public. So if I go up in here, this guy can't be private. It has to be public. And since this guy needs to be public, then it needs to be moved at the top here, right under the constructor, like this. Because we honor public over private, and then we honor the methods that will be used in other methods that will be used in other classes or partial classes than the ones that will be used differently. Okay, so I'm gonna go up in here and say, okay, I have a post. This is a random post, no problem there. Create random post. And then I'm going to go here and say post invalid post, which is coming from random post. Now bear with me because this is the first time you see this. And then I'm going to go here and say invalid, not invalid pot, invalid post, right? And I'm going to go here and say, now check this out. I have a date time offset. That will be my random date. This is random date time. So create random date time or get random. Let's see, create. Do
I
I
think we
not?
don't have, no, we don't have this method.
Oh, we don't have it? That's okay then. We can go here and say, we can go up in here and say, okay, get random message. He's private, static. Check it out. Private, static, date time offset. Get random, date time offset. See, be very verbose. And then new date time range, which is a function that comes in from, um, it comes in from dynamics. And then I can go here and say new date time. So this is me basically saying, give me any random date since the beginning of time, since year 1, all the way up in the future. So then here I can go and say get random date time offset. So that's my date time. That means when I go and set up my date time broker, mock, see, we don't have a date time mock, right? That's
Yes, we
another
don't have.
problem that we have. Do we even have a broker for date time? We don't. So it sounds like we need to put this on hold, whip, like this. And we need to go build a date time broker so we can actually proceed. So let me go into master branch and let me sync with the master branch. I know Shri have done a lot of stuff. We did a lot of bit of changes in here, so I probably need to pull latest. So I just pulled latest. And now if I go and rebuild this whole thing from scratch, let's see this. There you go. I'm gonna go build a broker real quick. Have you ever done brokers before?
Brokers, yes.
Which broker did you do? In this project here?
Log, no, nothing, nothing.
Not in this broker, right?
Not
Okay,
this.
I'm gonna give you this broker. Switch over to your machine and pull latest from master and create a new branch.
Okay, I have to go to the master, right?
Uh-huh.
Pull from master.
Easiest thing in the world. Let's go.
Oh,
Hmm.
Git has a problem. Let me to.
Yikes. Do you want me to take over it? Do you want me to do it while you fix the problem, or can you do it real quick?
Okay. Okay, I switch to master.
Okay,
Let me share my screen.
sounds good. There you are.
Okay, let's go to the brokers.
Uh-huh.
Create, add a folder.
Create a branch first.
What I have to call it?
Uh, Users, your username, and then slash brokers, and then date time. So new branch. Yeah, don't worry about this guy. Just revert it or something.
Okay.
Right click on the folder and just say revert. Yep, undo changes. Yep. Perfect. Let's go and create a new branch. So this master, do you see this master at
Yeah.
the very bottom? Just click on that guy. And then you can go new branch, users, and then put your username. Yep, and then
Broker.
put brokers dash date times. Date times. Go for it. Okay. Now let's go create that datetime broker for us. Datetime broker will allow us to control time, when we're writing unit tests. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
First, we have to create interface for that, and it will be a iDaytime broker.
That's right. Correct.
Okay, when we have to through the daytime offset
Yep.
property, right? No,
Yeah,
no.
date, time, offset. No, not property. Why property? It's a function. Yep, pull the reference for that guy. Oh my lord. Okay.
Visual Studio is getting old.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
because of.
I mean you need to be up there for the header anyway, but yeah, seriously, man. Mm-hmm.
What I have to call it?
So get current date time offset.
Get current daytime.
Offset. Hmm. Yep. Perfect. Put a header in your file. Put a new space between namespace and the usings. All right.
Okay. Done.
And then no, you need a new line between namespace and using system.
Let's create the class for that.
Okay. Yep, we need the implementation now. Nice.
Weird.
Yep. Name violation. Saying. Okay, perfect.
Okay, and I have to know it's I call the datetime option and the datetime now.
Yeah, did
Something.
that did time offset.utc now. You can make it fat arrow too, right? Because it's just one line, right? UTC now. Hmm. I don't think it's a function. Yep.
What I have to call it?
So
Datetime
you
option.
want a fat arrow this function, right? So this is now a property. You need to turn it into a function.
Okay. What is property?
Get current date time offset is now presented as a property. You need to turn it into a function. Nope. You need parentheses, right? And you still need to make it public. There you go. Take away the empty lines and give it a header and then create a PR. Boom. There's a broker. Don't forget to register it.
It will be a iTransient, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Under the story, under the logging, I will do services that add transient
hmm
I date time broker.
Are we gonna write unit tests for the datetime broker?
No, the daytime and logging, they are two pieces that they will not make any conflict and then any problem.
They're just brokers. We
Yes,
don't
they are
write
just broker.
logic in the, okay. Okay. There we go. Open close parentheses. Done. Right? Now let's go and create this. Let's name your commit brokers and then colon, all uppercase R brokers, and then colon, nope, colon. Still not right. Colon. The two dots above each other. There you go. This is not a semicolon. This is a
No, no, no,
colon.
no, 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 no. Column.
Keep it next to the S. You don't need the space. You need the space after it though. So colon space and then just one space and then just type datetime broker. Yep, take the space between date and the colon. There's two spaces there. Take one of them. That's it. Create your PR.
Okay.
All right, I'll take it from here. So that's my side. I'm gonna go back here into the web page. And let's go into the screen here. There you go. And let's go to Tarafu. So Tarafu core. Is, did you create a PR yet? You need to create a PR from your side. So you're gonna need to go to the web page. Yeah,
I Give me a second
okay.
to pull up the GitHub. Raw core.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, datetime compare and pull.
Oh,
The header is the same. The subject brokers, datetime broker.
perfect. Yep. Perfect. Yes.
Okay, done.
Okay, here we are. So now I have your daytime broker. I'm gonna take a look at it. So here we go. So we have the daytime broker. We have the um you basically put this as pulling in the daytime, get current daytime offset. You have the registration and that's it. Beautiful. Now I can go up in here and say, yeah, that looks like a good PR. I'm gonna confirm merge on this one. Now that it's in master, I can go back now um to my Visual Studio here, and I can pull out your changes easily, right? I can go here because I need these changes. So let me go up in here and say package console manager git pull origin. Oh, this one is master. Okay, git pull origin master. And you can also sync for the people watching us. This is, you can do it either way. Okay, so now I have a datetime broker. That's the stuff that you just typed, properly engineered. That's gonna change my post service a little bit. So now I need a private read-only datetime broker. So that's my datetime broker like this. So I already got that guy as an injected service. And also I need that guy in here. So this datetime broker. And then what I need up in here is that I go and say, there you go. So it's already typing the code for me. That's great. So now this is done here, but that's not enough. That means that some of my tests are going to be breaking, right? Because I didn't fix my injection here or my interface to basically allow this kind of consumption. So I'm gonna go up in here and do this. Stop me at any time if I'm going too fast.
No,
Just for you. Okay. So this is the daytime broker. I'm already pulling that in. This is Istarafu core. Hang on. Let's try this again. Daytime broker. Of course. Okay. Let me go and do this. So this is broker storages using Tarafu core brokers date times like this. Okay. So that's my guy here. So that's date time broker mock. So that's my guy. And then I'm gonna go up in here and say this is date time, this dot date time broker mock equal mock date time broker. And then I'm gonna go here and say date time broker. That's dot object. So now everything is set up right. Not just yet. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm done yet because there's all the tests that we've written in here. These tests didn't verify the datetime broker. Not just yet, right? But we'll come back to this one. This one here, I can go down here and say, well, this is a datetime broker, verify no other calls because this is the retrieve all. And the retrieve all, you will never ever call that datetime broker, but you want to make sure that nobody's monkeying around with your code, right?
right.
Also, something here is suspicious. I feel like, oh, I am changing in master because I switched over to master. Shoot. Okay, let me switch over to a
Post.
foundation. Yeah, foundation post add and force checkout. Yes, and let me do this again. That should be very quick. So let me pull that again. There we go. There we go. And then I have merge conflicts. Let's see what the conflict I have in here is. This is merge. What's it mad about? I'll take the one that's coming from, so this is incoming master. I'll keep that one in here. And then the only different here is exceptions. I don't see exceptions. Let's see. Do we have exceptions in here?
No.
Yeah, master didn't have exceptions yet, so I need to add this, just this one line in here. That one is important. So I'm gonna go down here and say, okay, under swashbuckle ASP.NET, I can put that guy in there. That should be acceptable for me. And then let's take the other one. The other one also that's having problems is this guy. I'll take the incoming. That's this guy. And then the only difference here, well, not a whole not a whole lot, right? So I'm just gonna accept that, and then I'm just gonna go here and say, code rub merge with master. Okay, so that's my guy. Okay, let's just make sure things are building before I add the date time broker because our branch are a little bit behind the time. Yeah, it looks like it's building fine. Let's make sure our tests also are running. Let's pick up all our tests here. This is a beauty of these unit tests as well. If you're adding something or merging, you still want to have this confidence that will tell you, oh, the world has fallen apart, all these updates has broken everything, or things are good. This guy needs to be reloaded though. So this guy is reloaded. Now I get to see all the tests. Come on, come on. There you go. Now I have some errors. Beautiful. Let's see what happened here. Oh, this is where I just stopped, basically. This is basically where I just stopped. Okay, perfect. We're gonna clean this daytime broker stuff as we go, but what I really care about in here is to go in here and say, okay, give me this mock. So I still need that mock in there. So I'm gonna go up in here and say private read-only mock I date time broker like this. Give me that guy. Of course, it'll do that. So that's that guy
Is it
using.
because of the global using that they add, or
No, it's disabled. I disabled it. So in this project here, if you go into the edit project file, you'll see it disabled. I'm disabling all that nonsense. I don't agree with it. So this is date times, and then there's also date time broker mock, and here is date time broker mock equal new mock date time broker, and then I want to pass this guy in here. So this is date time broker mock this dot datetime broker mock dot object. Now, what's mad at me? The service itself, because we lost that change, right? I'm gonna go up in here and say private read only I datetime broker like this,
daytime broker?
and of course it'll do that. And yeah, if some of the people that watch us know the solution to this, I'd really appreciate it because it's really, really annoying. So this is datetime broker in here, and I can go down here and say I datetime broker like this. And the last thing is that I just want to set it up. So that's my guy here. This is all good and dandy. Now everything should be functional. Now let's go back to our actual test, the test that we're trying to do in terms of validations, right? I'm gonna go
Right.
up in here and say the the datetime broker mock. We're gonna set it up to return when get current date time offset. We're gonna set it up to return random date time. What that means is that we want the created date, right, on this guy to be 1 minute before or after, right? So what am I gonna do so we don't fall in the trap of having the falling into the validation issue that created date is not the same as updated date? We're gonna need to upgrade this guy a little bit. I'm gonna create a new one in here, and this new one here is gonna take something like date time offset, right? And this date time offset, I'll call it dates, right? And these dates I'm gonna pass to this post filler. In this case here, for these dates, we really don't care. So I'm just gonna go and say get random date time offset so people don't have to worry about using this one. So this is dates like this, but in my filler itself, here's my date time offset dates. So instead of having the filler fill in these dates for me, I'm gonna go up in here and say, no, pass in these dates as parameters. Why is that? Because now I want to have this level of control. I
Uh-huh.
want to be able to have that level of control. So let me go back here into my, let's go back here into my create time filler. And this is great, create random posts. This is this one. So in here, we just don't care really. So I'm just gonna go create random posts. So this would be just fine. The only thing in here is that this guy is gonna need to be scoped because now it's way too large. It's way too large now, so we need to break it like this. And then we're gonna take it one notch down the hatch. So So here's the deal. So we have this here in place. We have create post. This is all good and dandy. Now we didn't break any existing functionality. All we did really is that we went and said, I want to be able to control the date. Why is that? Because when I go and pass in here invalid date, like this, invalid date time, it will be the random date time offset dot add minutes, right? And I'm gonna pass in here what? Minutes before or after. And now that invalid date time is the dates that are being created. Now I don't have to worry about even creating this guy anymore. I did a lot of things right now, and I want you
Yes.
to. So
Uh,
let's repeat that a little bit just so you understand. You know, I went and said, give me a random date time offset. There's no problem there, right? I basically went and said, give me this, and this will be the current date time offset. So when the date time broker is being called, what's going to happen? It's going to return this date. But now with passing in that parameter, I ensured that this invalid date, which I'm passing in to be the created and update date, will always be one more than 1 minute before or after now, which makes it invalid.
uh-huh.
Okay, so now all I have to do is just say this is my invalid post, and now my friend, what do I need to do? I need to go here and say var invalid post exception equal new invalid post exception. That's my invalid post exception. And then I'm going to go here and say, well, invalid post exception dot add data, right, will have a key. And this key will be the name of post dot created date, because the created date is the one that's invalid. And the values here is that date is not recent. So you're basically throwing an error and you're saying the date here is not recent. But that's the localization part. That's not even localization. That's local by
My
default, local
God.
by definition. This will be wrapped up in what? Post validation exception. So I can go here and say this is a post validation exception, and that's invalid post exception. So far, so good. The rest of this is really simple. Literally, you go and say value task post like this, and this is add post task. This dot service, oops, this dot service add post task, and it has the invalid post, great. And then I'm gonna go and say await assert throws async what? It throws the post validation exception when we run in the add post task as task, like this. Okay, what else? I wanna go and verify another thing. What do I wanna verify? I wanna verify that the logging broker,
It,
right? The,
right.
the, the logging broker has been called log error. It is, right, same validation exception as, come on, expected validation exception. But is the logging broker the one that actually gets called first, or is it the datetime broker that gets called first? Right? Broker dot get current datetime offset, right? Huh? Broker dot get,
Daytime.
yeah, right? Times once, right? Now, this is a bad scenario. This is a scenario where, we didn't actually get to go through. But if it were a good scenario, what would have happened? We would have called the storage broker, right? And the storage broker would have said what? Yeah, actually broker dot insert post async. It is any post.
Post.
How many times? What do you think? One or never?
No, never. Never.
Never. Stay awake. I'm gonna ask you questions. Verify no other calls. Logging broker, and then storage broker. Why did I put the storage broker at the very end? Why do you think?
Because of the order is like,
The chronological order of
yeah.
call, right? That's a test, right? So this test here, I can go here and say, oh, this test is failing, and you're gonna make it pass. Yay! How are you
Yes,
gonna make
great.
it pass? I'm gonna have to help you in this one a little bit, okay? So let me just show you this one, because this one is a little tricky. So let me show you what this one looks like. So this guy is failing. It's failing twice. Why is it saying two tests has failed? Why is it saying that?
Because you said if it's the theory, we will check it with different inputs.
And we have how many inputs? Two, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's a failing test right here. Boom. That's a failing test right here. Fail. How are we going to make this pass, my friend? I'm going to take this one just to show you, but you're going to do the next ones and all of that. What I want to do is that I want to go into this add post async and into my validate post like this, right? And I'm going to create a little function. And I want you to bear with me on this one because this function basically, all that this function does is that it goes and says, check whether this is a recent post or not. Are you with me on this one? It's just really simple. The function itself, there is a function and there's a rule. And the function itself, all that it does is that it basically goes and says, hey, just check to see if this is valid or not, if this is recent or not, which is going to change a lot of things for us. And I'm going to show you what that means in just a second. Okay, so here's the function that I want to go and say. Actually, there's even a modern way of doing things. Give me just 1 second and I'll tell you what we're going to do. So here's the deal, my friend. If I go and say, just trying to find the latest one that I made, because that latest one is the best one that you can actually come up with. So let me take a look here. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go here and say, I'm gonna build a little function in here, private, right? Private function. And this function here basically static, and it says something to the effect of is date not recent. So if the date is not recent, it's gonna send me a message. It's gonna return a value that's a Boolean. Are we clear on that one? So let me zoom in here just so people can see. So
So
is
it
date not
is
recent?
partial. Change the partial to
Oh,
private.
private. Sorry, yeah, private. There you go. Perfect. Is date not recent, right? I'm gonna go here and say date time offset. This is the current date time. So I'm starting with the current date time. Where am I gonna get this date time from? Right? Where am I gonna get that from? The date time broker,
From
right?
broker. Yeah.
So that's where I get that guy from, right? And now I have a time span. This is how I'm gonna calculate the thing. And I'm gonna go and say this is the time difference. What's the time difference here? Take that current date time and then subtract the date that you passed in. So whatever the time difference is, it'll tell you. How
It's
do I
making
know?
sense.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Oh,
And then I want also a time span that tells me 1 minute. So time span dot, right, from minutes, it'll give me 1. Now I get to go here and say, that is the time difference dot duration. Duration will basically not care whether it's in the past or the future. It doesn't care whether it's minus or not. Is it larger than 1 minute? Are you with me?
yes, I am.
So what did I do? I went and picked up the current date time. I subtracted it just to get the time difference. I have 1 minute in here. I'm saying, is the duration of this time difference bigger than 1 minute? Because if I don't say duration, it will give me time difference in the minus. I don't want that. I want the absolute value. See, it even says here, returns a new time span object whose value is absolute. What's an absolute value? A value that
It's
doesn't
always
necessarily,
positive. It's
yeah, it
positive.
doesn't carry a sign. Okay, so this is date not recent, but I still need the rule, right? So I'm gonna go here and say private static dynamic is not recent, and that's my date time offset in here. So that's date time, date. Let's say date is fine. And then I'm gonna go up in here and say, the condition is date. Check this out. Oh, we can't do this static anymore because it's using, why is it not static, this one? Because it's using a private class member.
Because
So an instance of the class need to exist, right? Static functions are very cheap because they don't necessarily require an object in memory to be created. Anyway, is date not recent? So if the date not recent, that's the condition, right? We need to go
right.
here and say message. What's the message? Date is not recent. That's it. So that's the rule. What's the last thing I need to do to make this work? I'm gonna go into the validation realm in here, in this area here, and I'm gonna go and say this. Now watch this. This is really, really important. This is me going in here and saying, put a new rule. The order here is also very intentional. Is not recent. Is not. I need to take
Recent.
that static value from here completely. Why am I putting it in here? Is not recent, right? And I'm passing in the post.created date. So that's the rule. The second thing is the parameter. Huh? And the parameter
Exactly.
here is the name of post.created date. Right? I could even flatten it out like this. That's fine too. It will match. Right? So okay. So rule and parameter. And this is created date. This guy closes this guy. Let's see why this guy is mad. It's basically saying cannot convert from dynamic string to dynamic string parameter. Okay, let's see. So this is invalid, is not the same. We're passing in, oh, wait. It's not recent. Did I say is date? No, I said it's not recent. Okay, so this guy returns a dynamic.
Yes.
And this is the rule. Rule, created date, post created date. This is perfect. So this guy's returning a dynamic.
Or maybe not. Can you check it again?
Yeah, look.
Okay. Then.
So private dynamic is not recent. You passed in the date and you returned a condition and a message, right? This guy here is saying, I'm taking in a bunch of parameters that are all of the value, a parameter that's dynamic and a string parameter. Parameter. Okay. Now I might be just missing a closing. Let's see. I might have just one or more, something more or less on this side. Yeah, I see what it is. Yeah, just an extra thing that I needed to close with. There you go. That's it. Now check this out. Why did I put this rule in here? Why can't I just put it up here? What's the reason for that? Let me tell you why. When we're doing validation, when we're doing validation, we're gonna need to go and say we're gonna need to go and say these validation, we need to honor structural first. So this guy is structural. 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 Oh, this guy is what? Logical,
Recall.
because it's comparing things. That's the second type of validation. And then the last one here is uh, integration or,
Sure.
or, or external validation. What does that mean? That means that you need to require a call to a broker to be able to run your validation, right?
Right.
Why do we start with structural? Because these are the cheapest one of them all. They cost nothing. You're basically comparing the value against a static value. That's it. This one here is logical because you're comparing two values to each other, right? This one here is the most expensive of them all.
You have to call the external.
You have to call the external resource. Does that make sense? So let's go
Yes.
back here. Let me take all that out. So now I basically went and said, make sure you validate a post, right? So now if I go and run my test again like this, check this out. Check this out. This test has passed. This one test that you and I wrote has passed. But there are other tests out there that are failing. Why are these tests are failing?
Because they are validations. Right.
Because these tests are written wrong. We're making it throw an exception from insert post because that was the first point of contact with an external broker. But now that we added the datetime broker, all you gotta do is just change this with datetime broker and everything will be just fine. So you have an assignment today, my friend. Let me tell you what
Okay.
we're gonna do. So let me put this as pass. This guy is pass like this, like this. But your job is to basically fix the broken tests, number one, by simply replacing, throwing the exception from the storage broker to the datetime broker. That's number one. And then the second task that you have is to include the datetime broker in here in the proper chronological order. That's it. Is that clear?
Okay.
That's it. Just
Exactly.
update the PR, and we'll have Shri take another swipe at it and maybe merge that PR in.
Perfect.
Does that
Okay.
make sense? All
Yes.
right. Our wrap
But
up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
we
Go
had
ahead.
lots of things to do today. I mean, it wasn't. You did lots of things, but my God.
The beautiful thing about programming is that first of all, when you're having a pairing session, you never really know what you're gonna be pulled into while you're working. But the beauty of the standard is that you will always know what to do. Like you will not be
Okay.
sitting there stuck, right? And I want you to understand something. The biggest mistake any software engineering team makes is when they bring a new member or they're trying to onboard a new member and they're working with a new member and that member is sitting there a whole day just stuck staring at a screen. That's the worst thing you can possibly do because that person is also getting sad and depressed because he's not being given things to do. You just came into, my world from day one. You're writing code, you're writing tests, you're pushing things. That's software engineering, my friend. That's how every single team is supposed to look like. Anyway, I look forward to hanging out with you more next week where we build controllers. I'll let you do the
Okay.
controller and I'll let you test it. But for now, we have just a couple of assignments, just a couple of homework that it doesn't really need to
Perfect.
be, streamed because we already done this before. All the best of luck. Make sure you update the PR and I'll talk to you
You-
next week. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mehdi.
you
I
so
appreciate
much.
you.
Thank
Take
you
care, man.
guys
Thank you.
for
Take care,
watching.
guys. Bye. Bye.